Good morning, everybody. Thank you all very much for being here so bright and early, and welcome back to Day 3, our last day of the Indigenous Resource Opportunities Conference. Once again, we would, of course, like to acknowledge that this year's event is being held on the traditional territory of the Sinimak First Nation, whose hospitality we gratefully recognize. I hope you all enjoyed our program yesterday. It was so great to see many of you at the banquet dinner and to see you at the Res Dog Walkers reception. And we would like to thank the sponsor of this morning's networking and nutrition break, BDC. Before we go any further, I'd just like to provide a quick safety share once again. If there is an emergency and we are required to evacuate the room, the Vancouver Island Conference Center muster station is located at the corner of Gordon Street and Cameron Road, across from the conference center's loading bay. Please ensure that you all walk through the exit doors in an orderly and calm fashion. It is now my pleasure to welcome back to the IROC stage to kick us off our conference chair, Dallas Smith. So let's give Dallas one more warm welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I came to the realization that my generation isn't the generation of today when we went to the Res Dog Walkers after party last night. For those of you who weren't there, we tried to go to the traditional karaoke bar that we've gone to the last couple of years, and it's now changed into an adult entertainment club, and so we didn't want to demand everybody go in there with us. There's a few people willing. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to point out names. Chief. Oh no. But the place that we went to try go to after only had seats for about 40 people, and there's about 75 of us. And so some people were in there having a good time, and they wouldn't let any more people in. And so we had to make an executive decision, and we walked to another pub just down the street, which ironically had karaoke, so it was good. But where I came to this realization was there was younger locals waiting to go into the entertainment establishment and said, I wonder what all these old people are here for. There must be a conference or something. And it just dawned on me right there. And I'm not going to lie, it ruined my frickin' night a little bit because I'm wearing a hoodie, I'm wearing sweatpants, I'm a pretty cool guy, I think. I pissed my daughter off because I'm not as cool as I think I am, but I didn't think I was at that generation that I count my father and uncles and aunties at now. So this is more about IROC. We're just growing as people, and we're coming to understandings and realizations of where we're really at in life. One other interesting thing about this is a realistic discussion about the realities that we're facing. And like I've said over the last couple of days, I really cherish and honor the fact that we're all sharing this space and this time together. But for the next 3 days, I'm going to go walking into the kitchen expecting to be introduced. I'm going to go walking into the living room hoping that Logan's going to have my speaking notes and my glasses ready for me. And my kids are going to be like, get a life, Dad. Get a grip. My friend's mom told me you're one of the old people now. She was at that bar. Yesterday was an amazing day. We started it off right. We ended it right. My dear friend Bill Lomax gave an amazing speech. That airplane story, I've heard that twice now, and it's just better each time. But I think it also illustrated just how far we've come in the 10 sessions that the BC Indigenous Resource Opportunities Conference has had. Like I said, we had to tell the same story for the first 2.5 years because that's all that was really going on. And we tried to tell it from a couple different perspectives, and we had to take a bit of a hiatus. But then everybody just started doing what they needed to do in their own backyards. And I think that's another point that's important is, when we deal with sustainable resource management, we really got to have a local look at it. We got to look about how it fits locally, and not just for Indigenous communities. Don't get me wrong, we have title and rights and all those things that need to be taken into consideration and accounted for, but we also live in communities. We also depend on the same infrastructure that's out there that projects like this pay for. And so the ability to sit down and talk about what is this going to mean for this region and this part of the province. And the more that we can make sure we answer each of those questions in each of the regions, it's just going to make our province that much stronger and eventually our country that much stronger. So it's really important for us to keep having these little discussions in the little parts of the world that we're coming from, because this is where it's happening. It's in your backyards. While we know the media has filled it up about pipeline controversies or big major project controversies, it's the little projects that we're all working on in our territories. And they're not little to us in our territories. They're big. They're meaningful. They bring employment. They bring impact. They bring impact that we need to sit down together to figure out how to mitigate. But each of those little ones are part of that stepping stone. They're part of that foundation that's making a better British Columbia and a better Canada. And it's so important to get beyond just the necessary dollars and cents because that each person gets. And I think that's one of the challenges with other conferences and traditional conferences is it's always about the impact benefit agreement. It's always about the quarter's earnings. It's always about the next quarter's opportunity. Whereas we need to remind ourselves that these projects are what pay for hospitals. They're what pay for schools. They're what pay for us to help deal with the social issues that we have. But unfortunately, in First Nations communities, those issues are ratioed way bigger. The impacts are way harder. The cuts are that much deeper. And it's not from anything we've done today. It's not from anything we've done yesterday. It's the collective work of 100 years of policy that just didn't take all the things we've talked about over the last 2 days into consideration. And so that's why I'm so proud to be part of this event that just has everybody here. My friend Robert Phillips took some liberties with some of my colleagues in the BC Conservative Caucus, and I apologize for that. But at the same time, that's where the anger and the angst is coming from. I don't think getting into directive discussions is how we fix it. I think it's through collaboration in discussions like this. And one of the things I like about it is I bet you 40% of these people in this room all have contact with in the next 2-3 months. And it's going to be, hey, you mentioned this. What did you mean by that? And then they're going to go on to somebody else and have that dialogue. And then somebody else is going to have that dialogue. And we're just going to keep talking until everybody has an understanding of the tools and the opportunities that exist around these issues and around these projects and around these opportunities. But now I want to go into the next part of today's agenda and finish off on just really a high note. So we're all looking forward to that family reunion as we all say our hugs and get ready to go to Harbour Air and BC Ferries and all the other great, travel sponsors who helped us get here for the last couple of days. Before we get on that, we want to go through a couple more things today. And so now I'm really happy to introduce my dear friend Sheila Malcolmson, who's been a friend and an advocate and an ally and a supporter of BC IROC even back when you were in Ottawa as an MP for the region. So if I can have my dear friend, the Honourable Sheila Malcolmson, come up and talk about some of the work that her ministry is doing as the result of the opportunities that we've developed through sustainable resource development. So Sheila, please join us.